Sorry I can't be there with you today, but I did wanted to give you a project just in case you wanted to start working on something during that hour gap that you have. If you don't want to, no worries. We can meet another day, and or you can start this project another time if you're interested. If you're not, again, definitely let me know. Okay, so I shared this document with you, or I will after this recording. And this is basically for the training schedule for SPSS and Qualtrics. And so what we're doing this year is that each cohort will be meeting separately. So last year it was technology coaches and computer science, along with business and with languages. Languages will be meeting separately, as will business, and so computer science and technology as a cohort will be together. And so we will alternate every other week, one with sort of this group skill building, and then the second week with this sort of intensive where we have an Excel section kind of set up, and then we also have the Qualtrics, and I'm hoping we'll also have Photoshop and Lightroom and maybe one more. We'll see how that works out. And so students, the tutors will be able to pick, means the tutors and the coaches will be able to pick which session they're going to go to, Qualtrics, Excel, or Photoshop Lightroom. So I would like for you to develop the Qualtrics SPSS training, which would, and this is sort of this first page kind of gives you an outline of what the trainings will look like. So we have orientation, we'll have a little mini session where you'll kind of get everybody the foundations of what they need. So that would be kind of like how to open Qualtrics, how to create different surveys, where things are, how to create questions. It's kind of like what you'll be able to cover very well in that section. And then beginners, you will actually start to go a little deeper into it. I would like for you to split up Qualtrics and SPSS. So go in for kind of beginners, Qualtrics first 4 weeks, and then beginners SPSS the second 4 weeks. Or if we need fewer weeks for Qualtrics, more for SPSS, that's fine. But in that 8 week time, it would be great if we can get them prepared to help students as they need help. So I know Qualtrics is going to be needed first because they need to collect the data that they're going to then put into SPSS, which I know you'll know that schedule better than I, so I am not like directing you on that at all. 4 was just an example. Do whatever you think is the best balance. And then I'd like to do a refresher in January because people will have a break from it, from that finals week gap that we take all the way to the winter break, and then all the way through January, so they have a chance to forget. And so we definitely need to give them a quick refresher. So think about 4 hours challenges, both SPSS and Qualtrics, to get them kind of back up to speed with everything. And then we would like to go a little deeper in the spring. So I know you may or may not be here in the spring. I think you said you're graduating in January. So I will be trying to hire somebody to work with you on this. So it will be kind of like you passing the baton to them. So wish me luck on that. And so, yeah. You. So the next piece is the assessment piece. So what I like to do is assessment for pretty much every step of the way. I like to do formative and summative assessment. And so the first one is really like a summative assessment. We want to figure out where everybody is. And so once we figure out what everybody knows, then we compare the weaker students with the stronger students. And basically not, I shouldn't say weaker and stronger students, those who have more content knowledge with those who have less content knowledge. And because those who have more content knowledge, they can kind of coach the ones with less content knowledge, and so they get to practice their coaching skills. The others get to gain the skills to begin with, and so we should have a nice balance there. And this sort of foundations assessment should help us with that. Beginners would really help us assess what people got or retained from the fall orientation foundations training. So we would definitely want to do that at the beginning of the year. So I think we were saying week 2 would be the separate program specific training. So we'd probably do that assessment at the beginning of week 2, figure out where people are, and already have content developed, but kind of a adjust that content based on how people did and how much they retained from foundations. And then we would have sort of our weekly assessments that would take place both in the fall and the spring. And then again, when we come back for January for that orientation training, after they've had all that time, we definitely want to assess them to see what we need to go over. And of course, as always, we'd have tons of material planned so that we'll be ready just to hit the ground running. We could pivot very well right in the session. Finally, we have the intensives, so the case-based scenarios. And I think these should be placed strategically in the semester. They would be kind of off of Wednesday, so it would be like a Friday, a Saturday, or something like that, where a lot of people can attend. And I like it to be kind of case-based, so they have a problem and they need to solve it on this platform. So if it's a Qualtrics, maybe it's like a really complex survey that you're having them create. You give them very little instruction. They have to use the help area and YouTube videos and whatever to figure it out. Same thing for SPSS, and that would be more in the spring, because I feel like they would probably need a little bit more time with SPSS because there is that kind of data side of things, so understanding tests and stuff like that and statistics to run it. So I think they would better be able to handle the intensive after they're more accustomed and familiar with SPSS. Alrighty, so finally we have this. So I basically just kind of broke things down so it'll be all together for you. So the assessment, what kind of questions would you want to ask in the assessment? And then you could go here and start putting what you would like to have in the orientation, and so that would be bullet pointed out. So you can say start with I don't know what you would start with for the orientation. Opening Qualtrics. Right, and then you could put, portal and creating account, and then, all the things that you would put in there, and then boom, the next piece, creating a survey. Right, and so you could have the review blank, templates, and whatever. So this is where you would kind of start to really flesh out the material. So then from this piece, when we meet, we'll start actually developing, so doing some actual session and training development. Okay, and so like I said, I have everything listed out here, so all you have to do is plug it in. So what are you going to cover in week 1? How are you going to assess that? What are you going to cover in week 2? How are you going to assess that? So all the way through to the end of the semester, well, to the end of the academic year next year. Okay, so if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. Thank you so much for all your help with this, and I look forward to meeting with you soon.